Hello, I'm Ryan Sangali of Rappler.com alongside Nissia Casiano, and we're joined today by the Filipino Wrecking Machine, former UFC star, now currently the Philippine ambassador to the UFC, Mark Muñoz. Mark, welcome to Rappler. Welcome home.
Oh, thank you so much. I love being here. I love being where it all started from my family. And thank you for having me, man.
You know, we were just talking off the air about like how you're happy to be back here and happy to be enjoying some of our culinary delicacies. Well, what have you enjoyed since you've been here about a week now?
Shoot, for every morning I've been eating adobo every morning, and probably lunch too, maybe even dinner. So adobo, chicken adobo, pork adobo. I haven't had crispy pata or lechon kawali yet, but I'm probably gonna have it. But I'm on a diet because I gotta get slim and trim and back in training camp. Not for a fight, but for a movie. And then
plug it.
Huh?
Plug the movie.
My movie? Okay, yeah, my movie's called Lumpia 2. I'm Lumpia Man, and and I'm a silent avenger. I have a lumpia fryer on my right hand pocket, and I flip lumpia up and I throw it at bad guys and I catch them. And
is that an effective mixed martial arts tactic that someone can employ?
Lumpia?
Yes.
You know what, dude? You know, I use the lumpia to distract them, and then I use my MMA, my Donkey Kongas, and I start pounding.
Set it up for the Donkey Kong, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I do. But yeah, it's an action comedy, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to film.
You know, tell me about you've been very busy here since you've gotten here. One thing that you're really advocating now is this anti-bullying campaign. Tell me about that. Why is that such an important advocacy for you, and what are you hoping to accomplish with that here in the Philippines?
So, in the States, there's quite a bit are getting bullied. 160,000 kids every day at school get bullied. 13.8 million kids get bullied. And so I don't have the statistics here, but I'm pretty sure it's the same, if not higher, you know? And so a lot of kids get bullied. And the thing is, like for me, I got bullied when I was younger. But I always talk about your life experiences shaping and molding to who you are and who you become. But even more important, your life choices do that even more, right? What I choose to do in my life is who I'm going to be later on, you know? So for me, it's about rising above your adversity to achieve a desire. Because everybody has a desire to be successful, right? If you don't have a desire to be successful, better get one, you know? But everyone has a desire to be better than they were yesterday, right? And that's what you have to do. You gotta be reinventing yourself every day, no matter what you are. If you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're a commentator, if you're a fighter, whatever you are, you know, you gotta become better than you were yesterday. So the only person you should compete against is you, right? So for me, this anti-bullying campaign, like I have a voice to be able to talk about my life adversities and getting bullied, and then therefore changing it around and rising above adversity and becoming who I am today. So without those experiences of me being bullied, I would not be the Filipino Wrecking Machine. You know, because there's a lot of stuff that happened from when I got bullied and when I got physically bullied for my shoes. I got jumped for my J's, for my Jordans, and then there's life experiences that happened along the way. So I chose to get into wrestling. Wrestling got me into college. I chose to get into MMA, and now I'm Mark the Filipino Wrecking Machine Muñoz. But now I use my life story to be able to encourage and inspire, motivate kids to, one, speak up about their instances about being bullied, two, help others, and three, get involved. You know, and so that's what I'm doing right now, and it's been a campaign that's caught on fire, and I'm looking to bring it here because I know even my Pamumpkin here, she's getting bullied. And she was telling me about it yesterday, and I found out about that yesterday, and it makes me sad, you know. But she can rise above that.
But I imagine when people find out that, oh wait, her uncle is Mark Muñoz, You leave that girl alone, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Let's discuss about your role as the Philippine ambassador of the UFC. What
Yeah.
are the main objectives now from August to October?
Yeah. So the main objectives now is to talk about UFC Manila. UFC Manila, that's going to happen October 15th, which tickets are on sale right now. Make sure you buy them.
Yeah.
UFC Manila. So from my responsibilities are just to be the ambassador and represent the Philippines and the UFC, and to create buzz around the event.
You've been an advocate of wrestling, and you really wanted to bring it to the Philippines.
100%.
How important it is for you to establish that grassroots, and what are the steps in
Yeah.
establishing those?
Okay. So wrestling for me, if I didn't have wrestling, I wouldn't have become who I am. So now, I actually was just having a conversation with for Yao coming over here. Wrestling to me is a sport where you have to learn how to fight out of every position, and you have to be able to learn how to score in every position, right? So now, aside from the sport itself, your training partners are the ones that are sharpening you every day. If your training partners aren't going hard on you, then you're not getting better. If you're going soft on each other, you're not going to be good. So, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. That's in the Bible. Proverbs 27:17. That's in the Bible, and it's very true. Because if I don't go hard on you, you're not going to be sharp when you step out on the mat. Likewise, in the business setting, if I see you doing something wrong, I don't just not say anything about it. I'm like, hey, make sure you, whatever, do it right the next time, right? And then you have to be humble enough to take in that criticism and get better. It's about self-development every day, right? Getting better every day. And that's what it's all about. I feel that wrestling is a sport that can give you that. And in this country, we love basketball.
Yeah, very true.
But as we all know, we're not a very tall race, you know?
Not us, especially.
No,
You know what I'm saying? So
You're
to
a
be able,
different
I'm
creature.
different.
Yeah, you're
I'm
different.
different. I'm 100% Filipino.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm 100% Pinoy, but I grew up in the States, so I'm eating the hormone meat and that kind of stuff. But anyways, I'm a big Filipino, so. And there's other Filipinos there that are like 6'3", 6'4". I'm like, where'd you get your height from?
Yeah.
Probably the Spanish, the Spanish rule the Philippines
We got
for a long
stretched
time.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably hung on a bar like this and just like stretched themselves out. But yeah, we all love basketball here, And you see people in the province playing basketball in their bare feet or their chanelas, making man-made hoops. I want to change that, and I want to see kids wrestling in the grass, learning how to do high crotches, single legs, double legs, throwing each other, that kind of stuff, because it's not based upon height or size, but it's based upon leverage, position, timing, and we're very good at that.
Yeah.
We're very good. There's a lot of Philippine martial arts like Dumo again, Arnis, Kali, Eskrima, and we're very good at that. Our Philippine martial arts was actually highlighted in the Bourne Identity. Jason Bourne was a guy that was doing Philippine martial arts. And so, it's mainstream, and we're very good at it. So why not do it in a sport where we can actually do our skills? Our skills can actually be in tune with the sport that we're doing. Now, I'm not saying that we're not good in basketball. We're very good in basketball. But if it was 6 foot and under, dang, we'd rule this country. We'd rule the world. But obviously it's not. There's guys that are like 6'8", 6'10", 7 foot.
Yeah.
We can't compete against them.
Are you willing to work with the government or a local sports body to fulfill or put this advocacy of yours into a reality?
Yes, I am. I'm willing to do that. So I'm trying to get ways to be able to talk to Duterte, about the president, to be able to talk to him about, or even the boards of education here at schools, to give them my curriculum on wrestling and the programs that I want to put in place, and then get the resources to be able to get mats and supply mats and put together a tournament style league and have schools have coaches and coach the coaches on how to coach wrestling. So I'm planning to do that. That's actually why it's another thing why I'm here, is so that I can bring my talent, skills, and abilities and give it to the Philippine people. And I know in my heart that we can get an Olympic gold medal in this sport. I know we can, because we have the talent, we have the ability, we have the mind, we have the resilience, we have everything. We have everything it takes to become an Olympic gold medalist.
You mentioned about Dumog because it's the wrestling art of Western Visayas, actually.
Yes.
In the Cordilleras or the mountains in the north, they have Bultong.
Yeah, Butong.
And in the south, they call it Layog. So do
Yeah.
you think how will this indigenous wrestling arts could translate onto the mat or inside an MMA cage?
Yes, they will translate very much so.
Is it somewhat similar?
It's
with
very
Greco?
similar. It's very similar. It's very similar to Greco. You're saying Greco-Roman. Very similar to Greco-Roman. Every grappling art or every wrestling or jiu-jitsu or dumog, or they're all similar because we all have arms that bend like this. We all have legs that bend the same way. We all have necks. We all have
Next, they don't bend usually.
legs. Yeah, we all have, we have all the same body parts. So all those martial arts are the same based upon the leverage and the positions that you're in. So, having said that, the different techniques and the rules and regulations of the sport, you have to be able to coach them based upon that, right? So in jiu-jitsu, you're able to go against joints and they tap, In wrestling, you can't really do that. It's not right. But you learn how to control them with your position and your leverage. You learn how to take guys down. In jiu-jitsu, you just pull guard, or you throw them, or there's no type of takedown mechanism or program for jiu-jitsu guys. Judo, you throw people. It's the same thing. In all the grappling arts, you got to learn how to do leverage, timing, position, all those things, and learn that. And so I want to do that. I want to be able to bring that here and teach that and teach our people and look and see people have a man-made area in the grass where they're wrestling, instead of watching people playing basketball in their bare feet or chanelas.
You guys heard it here first. Mark Muñoz, President Duterte, he wants to speak with you about wrestling.
That's right.
Of course, we talked about the Olympics just now. Mixed martial arts has been fighting a very successful battle for legitimacy in the sports world. Now, of course, New York is going to allow mixed martial arts professional fights there. Do you see in the future that mixed martial arts can make an appearance at the Olympics?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, there's boxing, there's judo, there's wrestling. So there's a lot of combat martial arts that are going into the Olympics now. Jiu-jitsu hasn't made it yet. But, there's other martial arts. Muay Thai hasn't made it yet. But maybe we can get to the point where, because there's amateur leagues all around the world that are happening, and there's headgear, there's shin guards, there's bigger gloves, where they can do martial arts and not really get to the point where you're knocking people out or and that's what amateur sports and Olympic Games is all about, So you don't want to be able to see gory stuff, like a lot of blood or anything like that. But in professional sports, you see that, In boxing, you see that. In mixed martial arts, you see that. So, but in the Olympics, you got to have the proper gear to be able to do that. So I do think it'll make a run to be in the Olympic Games.
There's a notion that most people who push that to turn mixed martial arts into Olympic sport is more of them turning the sport into a institution, but the other side thinks it's more of a validation. What do you think about it?
Yeah, the thing about mixed martial arts is it's a brand new sport. You know, it's not like boxing or wrestling where it's been, here for generations and thousands of years, you know? So to be able to get the legitimacy of MMA right now is, because it's fairly new, you know, it's in the 1990s, you know? That's new, you know, and so for us, like, there's a lot of people that still frown upon it because the very first UFCs, it was very, very gory, right?
There were only two rules.
There was only two rules.
Yeah.
And they didn't have gloves. They didn't have rules and regulations. It was no holds barred. So I think a lot of people still see it as that because a first impression of something sticks with you for a very long time, you know. And so it stuck with a lot of the men and women in power, you know. And so it has a negative view of it, and so to be able to get the legitimacy of MMA and to show them that it actually is a multiple facet of martial arts coming together all into one style.
Speaking of which, actually, many Filipino fans, the last time they saw you was, of course, here in the Philippines. You had your farewell fight at the Mall of Asia Arena. You really kicked off the UFC's maiden voyage into the Philippines. You had that very emotional moment where you laid your gloves down in the middle of the cage, and you had a dominant performance against Luke Barnott. Tell me about what was that moment like for you, having one of your best performances in front of your Filipino fans?
It meant a lot to me. It meant so much to me. Now, having said that, a lot of it wasn't planned. When I won, I was just ready to answer his questions. But then he handed the mic off to me.
Yeah, it was
and he
John
said,
Anik.
Yeah, John Anik handed the mic off to me. He says, "The floor is yours," and I'm like, oh. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, Tagalog first, and then talk English, and then I just spoke from my heart. And then as I spoke from my heart, in my mind, I was thinking, how can I commemorate this sport and acknowledge that I've been a part of this sport and give honor to this sport? This was all happening all at once. And I thought, okay, lay my gloves down. Because in wrestling, when you retire, you put your shoes out in the middle of the mat. You know, to me, I was like, what honor would it be to be able to lay your gloves down in the center of the octagon and give love and admiration for the sport that actually built the person that I am today, right? And so I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. So then after I gave the mic back to John, I thought about that, and then you see me taking my gloves off. And that's why I was like, hey, guys, take my gloves off, please. My cornerman, I was like, take my gloves off, because I wanted to put them down in the center. And I thought about that in the middle of the interview. So, and then after all that happened, people were saying, wow, that was such a great moment. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just being who I am, you know? For me, like, I've always talked about living your life and following your passion and following, your and about self-development, getting better every day. And mixed martial arts and wrestling was an avenue for me to do that. Was an avenue for me to exemplify desire, direction, diligence, discipline, dedication, character, integrity, and pride for my culture, you know? And so for me to do it in the Philippines was an amazing thing for me to do. And then to lay my gloves down and then speak Tagalog to all the people and let them know that I'm 100% invested in this country, and I want this country to be very good in mixed martial arts and in wrestling, and to be able to give back. And now I'm back. And now, just you saying that, just you asking that question gives me goosebumps because I want to come back, and I definitely want to give to this country as much as I can.
That was everyone there. Everyone had goosebumps that night.
Dude, man, it just happened. I can't really explain it, but that's the very fabric of who I am. I want to be able to give because I'm very Filipino. From the language to the dress to the mannerisms to the you know, do that, everything, you know, it's like, that's who I am, you know, and I grew up like that, and now that I'm here in the motherland, you know, I just want to give.
I see you more often in events prior to your trip as an ambassador. Do you get that itch to go back inside the cage? Like, hey,
You know?
I do much better than that guy. I shoot double leg takedowns better than him.
You know, I do get an itch to come back, and you know, I help different guys out. You know, I helped the champ out, Michael Bisping. He just won the belt. I'm going to go back to King's MMA and help out Fabricio Verdum, Rafael Dos Anjos, because a lot of those guys were coming to my gym, Rain Training Center, and a lot of those guys I was training with, and I was helping them out, and you know, Black House too, with Anderson and Lyoto and the Nogueira brothers, and you know, for me, I love teaching because that's what I was before I got into the octagon. Before I got into the UFC, that's who I was. I coached, and I coached the best in every division and every sport that was in, freestyle, Greco-Roman, or folk style wrestling, and I end up coaching some champs, a lot of champs actually, and so for me that's what it's all about, man. Like it's about coaching and teaching and giving my gifts. Yeah.
We get some analysis about a couple of upcoming fights. Actually, UFC 202 is coming up this weekend. McGregor versus Diaz 2. What is your pick for that, and how do you see that fight playing out?
I see Diaz winning. You know, and I know Conor. Like Conor's been, he's been working on his jiu-jitsu. But the first round and a half, if you recall, Conor was actually landing a lot of punches, and Diaz was just walking through him, you know. And I don't know how much power he can get in 6 months. You know, it's going to be hard unless you get Diaz like running into a punch and, you know, Conor landing a left hand really hard. So I see a lot of it. I see a lot of the same happening, but I think Conor is going to be looking for the ground game and trying to get back up to his feet where he's good at. And I think he's going to keep distance a little bit better. But I think it's going to be longer, but I think the result's going to be the same. Now, I really don't think it's going to be a submission victory, but I think Diaz is going to apply his will to him and force his will.
How about Phil Brooks, CM Punk? How do you think he'll do in his pro debut?
Oh man, you know, I haven't seen CM Punk, you know, so, you know, Brooks is tough, man. He's tough.
Brooks is big here.
He's big. Yeah. So, you know, CM Punk, I know he's been training with the guys over in Wisconsin, Duke Rufus, and all those guys, and that's a very great camp. And this is his debut, so there's not many fights underneath his belt.
There's no fights under his belt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he probably fought in the street a little bit here and there, but you know, that's what I'm trying to say. But like him, to be able to be inside the octagon, locked in a cage for the very first time, not having any mixed martial arts experience, that's gonna be very tough. You know, because you can lean back upon your life experiences, right? You can lean back upon the experiences you have competing in mixed martial arts. He has none. You know what I'm saying? And Brooks has a lot. So, so what I'm trying to say is,
good luck.
Good luck, CM Punk. I hope you do well, and I hope you do well. Yeah, and I think Brooks is going to have his way with him.
Let's go to another fight. In Manila, we will have BJ Penn versus Ricardo Lamas.
Yes.
You did it for one night. You turned back the clock. We saw the old Mark Muñoz, but it's going to be different because BJ Penn was not going to do it one night. He was going for another run. Do you think?
Yeah.
How will BJ turn things around for his career? Especially he's coming off a three-fight losing skid.
Yeah.
And he has not won a bout since he knocked out Matt Hughes.
Yes.
In 21 seconds.
Long time. So BJ has that fighting spirit. He is a person that has been in the sport, is a Hall of Famer and a living legend in the sport, right? He's won at
Yeah.
welterweight,
Yeah.
and lightweight. Right,
Yeah.
he's lightweight champ. And
Now
was
he's down featherweight.
and now he's going down to featherweight,
Yeah.
looking to become a featherweight champ. So
Yeah.
this is the first time anyone's trying to be a 3-time
Yeah.
world champion in
Mm-hmm.
different
Yeah.
divisions. So, having said that, he switched up his camp.
Yeah.
He went to Greg Jackson. He's training with a lot of those guys there, which is something different for him
Yeah.
because there in Hilo, he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I said before, if you're not getting challenged every day, if you're not getting that developed in the way of like intense heat and pressure,
Yeah.
it's going to be very hard to be successful. But he's been very successful with what
Yeah.
he has done. But if you don't change, nothing will change, right?
Yeah.
So he changed it up, he switched it up, and now he's at a different camp, and he's doing well.
Yeah.
I think when I hugged him, man, he feels like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. He's disciplined, and so I'm pulling for him. But at the same time, Ricardo Lamas, oh my gosh, that guy's a monster.
Yeah.
He's a monster, and he possesses a lot of power in his hands. He's very aggressive, has a lot of great wrestling takedowns. His ground game is very good, so it's going to be a big test for BJ. So I want to see a great fight. It's going to be a great fight.
Let's put all the facts on the table.
Yes.
Do you still think, honestly, from a veteran like you, do you still think that DJ can pull the trigger?
I do think that he can pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I do feel that he can. Just in speaking with him, because you can talk to a lot of people and see them outside the octagon and speak to him. He's got the fire, man. You look in his eyes, he's got the fire.
Yeah.
And you can tell when somebody does it.
Yeah.
When you look in somebody's eyes and when they talk about mixed martial arts, you can tell that they shouldn't be in the octagon. But he wants to be in the octagon. So I do think that this is going to be a big test for him. Should he come back on top in this fight?
Yeah.
I think he's going to make a good run for it.
You mentioned that Ricardo Lamas has this wrestling background. Yeah, because he's a All-American in Division III in the NCAA.
Yes.
How important is wrestling in the sport of MMA? I mean, there was a time in the UFC where most, if you're going to include Ronda Rousey, all of them were grapplers.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
from top to bottom.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
you're going to look at it, the current champions. You still got Daniel Cormier. You still got DJ or Demetrius Johnson as a champion.
Yep.
How important is the sport of wrestling or the discipline of wrestling in the sport of MMA?
It's, if you ask a lot of the mixed martial artists, they say, if you poll a lot of the mixed martial artists, they're going to say wrestling is the #1 discipline to learn, #1 martial art to learn, because you can dictate whether you can have it on the ground, or you can dictate whether you can keep it standing. Because wrestling is the only sport where it teaches takedown defense, really. From shots, leg attacks, to defense on the throws, to defense of anything. I mean, other sports teach it as well, but wrestling teaches the counter offense to a lot of different moves and different techniques. So having said that, I believe wrestling is the #1 martial art to learn. And a lot of mixed martial artists will back me up on that.
Yeah, there's an ongoing debate about BJJ started it all, then wrestling took over.
Yeah.
What is that mental edge that wrestling gives to MMA fighters? Because we can take note, like you got Dan Henderson,
Yeah.
you got Randy Couture.
Yep.
There are a lot of wrestlers who established their niche
Yep.
in mixed martial arts.
So wrestling, in the culture of wrestling, you don't ever find a successful wrestler being lazy. You don't ever find that. You don't ever find a successful wrestler just being super talented, because you got to back that talent up with work ethic, and being smart. And that's what the sport of wrestling is. And having said that, our culture, wrestling culture, like if you get taken down, you better get 2 and 3 takedowns back.
Yeah.
So you just see scramble after scramble after scramble, and it's 100% intensity from the start of the whistle to the end of the period. It's 100% intensity. And I always say, to be a wrestler, you got to have the mind of a chess player, the balance of a ballerina, the gracefulness of a ballerina, the balance of a gymnast, and the explosiveness as a Olympic weightlifter, Olympic lifter. You got to have the agility of a soccer player. I mean, wrestling is a very
It's a total package.
It's a multifaceted sport, and it's just you against them. That's it. It's one-on-one.
Hopefully not you against me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But you don't have somebody else to blame because you didn't do something right.
Yeah.
It's all on you.
Yeah.
So whatever you put in the sport, you're gonna get out. So I think wrestling is it keeps you accountable, and it's a very important sport for people to learn, man. That's why I want to bring it here to the Philippines.
Mark, it's been a pleasure having you here at Rappler. We have to ask you one last question, though. We were speaking a bit about this off the air. How is your Tagalog?
Mabuti ang Tagalog ko.
Yeah.
Pero mag-practice ako palagi kasi ang parents ko magsalita ng Tagalog, pero my response was always back in English. So intindihan ko lahat, pero maghirap ang salita. So you can see my Tagalog is okay, but it's Taglish palagi. But next time you see me back, it's gonna be puro Tagalog na lang.
Sige po. Well, Mark, thank you very much for stopping by at Rappler.com. We wish you the best of luck. You want to plug anything? I know October 15th is coming up. You want to say anything to people?
UFC Manila. It's going to be at SM Mall of Asia. Please come. I'll see you there. Buy your tickets at UFC.com. And also my movie's coming out. Be sure to tune in to that. You could catch it at Kid Heroes Productions. Google that. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Here we go. Well, for Nisia Casiano, I'm Ryan Sangalia. Thank you once again, Mark Muñoz, and thank you all for tuning in at Rappler.com.